Alrighty. Hello, everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do get started, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a lot of things happening. Deku, he went through the ringer, and he definitely had a lot on his plate. However, he managed to punch and break a lot of it. And he made it through the quest in about 3 weeks' time, if not a little over that. Now, Deku spent nearly the last month going down inside of a dungeon and trying to clear it of a giant horde of thousands of spiders, even taking out the boss in a quick period of time. Whenever the double XP event started, Izuku managed to gain enough points to put them into his ice magic, and maxing that skill out. Along the time of the battle as well, he had a multitude of his abilities begin to level up. His spirit ability went to level 6, along with even another ability of his, and that would be his dragon scale armor. Now, Deku, after he left the dungeon, he had a lot on his mind. He was worn out. He was tired. He left that giant spider dead on the bottom level. And he plans to leave, find a place to sleep, and come back in the morning. If there's any in the nearby forest, he'll find them, eradicate the rest of this hive, and be done with it. This place will be safe. However, before he could truly leave this area, he met back up with the vampire, the one who drank his blood and fed on Pyra. And this one was quite the bad experience. He thought after going through all that he'd have to fight. However, this vampire was begging Deku to put it under a geas, knowing that's the only way it would be close enough to get his blood. And this had him quite confused. This vampire once told him he had a unique taste to his blood, and now that has definitely turned its ugly head, since it does appear feasting on normal people is no longer sustaining it. And that means a bit. Everyone else might have something regular in their veins, but he's got the golden blood, the thing it has had once before and now can't turn down. Everything else is no longer appealing to it. And Izuku, he was conflicted about using slave magic on a vampire, for not only a few reasons, but a lot of them. So instead, he needed time to think. He gave it a vial of his blood and left, since otherwise it would try to cure this hunger of its by feasting on everything nearby. And he would rather not be responsible for people being killed by it because it was hungry. Now, we do actually have the next morning. Deku, he does arrive in Granala after the sun has risen. And people, when they do to see a man land outside the guild hall, they do just stare at him. For a minute, people thought it may have been Sir Theodore. However, seeing a man who is covered in injuries and bruises, along with who smells like dirt and blood, go to land does mean a bit, especially after watching those wings disappear. And when he does a walk through that door, some people are going to turn their heads. Seeing a man walk in with purpose, with stride and dirty long hair, along with that scar predominant on his chest. And that is a symbol of the hero. Deku making his way over and going to put something down on the desk before he does inform them. This quest has been completed. The elven woman turning her head. I see, and how her looking at Deku, looking at the scar on his chest and the multiple wounds covering his body. He's still standing here. He definitely smells like he's been run through a poisoning field. Okay. Sir, are you alright? You are the hero, correct? I am. I've been busy these last couple weeks. What day is it exactly? Of the week? Of the month. I've been in a dungeon for a while. But like I said, this quest has been completed. Going looking down. Her going to yell out S rank as multiple people do turn their heads hearing that. And he does get to tell her. Its body is still laying in the dungeon. And he'll call some people he knows to retrieve it. If the guildas want it, then he'll give it to them. As far as he knows, it's too far damaged because of his magics to really get any use out of. But if they want it, he'll take it, along with some of those resources from its body, since they did make some good shields, even potentially good armor. And he does a turn, telling the woman that he'll be back for his gear, and going to leave. Multiple people giving Deku a wide berth, hearing that he just took on an S rank quest. He just got back from it, from what it does look like, and he's alone. Either his party members are dead, or he just soloed that quest. And that it does gain a lot of attention. Him flying back to the castle to get himself cleaned up and go to sleep. And this does mean a bit, as whenever Deku does finally get rest after being awake for over a day, he does finally crash. Him sleeping for a long period of time before he's to wake up at a very early point in the morning, getting out of bed and going to stretch. Him grabbing something to eat as Astoth, he is with him. And Izuku, he does need to head back out to the house. He knows that they do have the cottage a few miles outside the city. It should be just over the hill over there. But going to see them was a good idea. It is. Though it does mean a bit. Him turning to his familiar. Before he does try to think about what to do. He still hasn't checked his level. Turning and opening his inventory, as he is greeted by a very simple message. Congratulations. He has completed the S-Rank quest and terminated the Spider Queen within. For completing this quest, he has the ability to pick a unique reward, along with being given 50 skill points for his achievement for soloing this quest. And that it does make Deku raise his eyebrows. 50 points? That is a lot. Okay then. The menu going to change. Deku seeing webs begin to appear in his corners and going to watch as a spider symbol does pop up in the middle, as 4 options do to appear. Spider's blood, spider's web, arachnid senses, and wall climbing. This intriguing Izuku. Him going to look over at Spider's blood and seeing this ability. It's interesting. Spider's blood. Details. Ability will give you acidic blood. Slowly over the course of time, your blood will contain the properties of arachnid poison. This will give you not only an additional boost to poison resistance, but also immunity, and will give you a 30% boost to poison immunity, along with the ability to use your blood as a weapon in combat. And that it does surprise Izuku, hearing that word, him intrigued by that. So even if he gets wounded, he can take out someone's weapon, or use his blood on their armor. Okay, that is dangerous. It could be useful if he is learning water magic. Mix enough of his blood in there and... Actually, that then turns into blood magic, doesn't it? If he learned blood magic, acidic, malleable, Mixed with his ice, it could freeze. And that visual, it does make Deku a little more disturbed. But the idea of using it, it's something for pure defense. Okay, right. Spider's Web. Ability will give you access to a unique form of Weaver's magic. Not only being able to produce the ability of webs will also give you a proficient boost in raw magic, as conversion will be 20% less mana. Him staring at that, raw magic would be increased? Okay then. Let's see. Sharp as... Yikes. Okay. He's already seen what some of this magic can do before. But that person, they may have not been going all out in combat. The idea that this stuff can be dangerous. With one spell, he could change the weather. So with more power, if this ability were to max out, it could get more dangerous. It's a rare skill. And that, it does make Deku intrigued. The Arachnid Senses will give you the ability of perception and 0 blind spots. Allow you to have omnidirectional vision, along with manifesting 4 additional eyes on your head, allowing you to perceive things in a faster time frame. And visual information will also be increased. Mind skill needed. 15 out of 100. Him staring at that. Okay, that's good. The requirement seems a little low for this, but... Huh. Okay. He's not sure how this skill does level. It can become a passive ability? Leveling it up could be interesting, but 4 additional eyes is kind of a deal breaker. No blind spots, though, is not. I'll have to keep that one in mind. Wall climbing will allow you to create small hairs along limbs, along with body. Ability would grant you the ability to stick to any object you get a hold of, and remain in contact with that object as long as you do deem fit. This applies to people, creatures, and even weapons, along with materials you do find held onto. However, because you are sticking to an object does not mean it cannot move. That on his mind. And it does make him think. If he were climbing the side of a mountain and it was suddenly struck, if he's climbing up it, the area around his hands may not break. But it'd be like him sticking to a boulder that's been pushed off of a mountain. Okay. Huh. He gets a hold of somebody and doesn't let them go. He can pull away armor. If he does make contact with bare skin, what happens if he does... oh, never mind. That one's kind of creeping him out. That just seems morbid. But going off the idea that it's like his slime magic but better, that skill could be a good passive one. He wouldn't release his weapon unless he deems he needs to. That one has gained favorability. Okay. So, Webs is out. It is a powerful offensive ability. But should he go for the blood? The blood one could be good. He's realizing he's fighting a lot of poisonous creatures now, actually. Huh. Well, that's not good. The senses are good, but he does have detection and search magic. Okay, so that one is out. Spider's Web, Powerful, yes, but if he does learn water magic the way he does know how certain people do learn it in the book, he could create a powerful offensive ability. Along with that, he does have ideas for how to use certain flame magic. And that is just the beginning. He needs to get more proficient and skilled with many magics. That will come with time. So, Webs is out. Wall climbing and Spider's blood. These two abilities are both good. One that could injure an opponent if his blood does get on their weapon, armor, or person. Or one that if he does get a hold of an opponent, he won't let go of unless he deems it's time. Though, okay. He'll pick Spider's blood for now. Him clicking on that. And the moment he does get to watch the screen disappear, he does get a stand. Him expecting that to be that. However, a second screen is to pop up. It informing him, "Congratulations on reaching rank 100. All physical stats have been increased by 15 points. That surprising him. Before it does express, he has been evaluated and the additional skills have currently been selected for a reward. He may pick from one of the 3 ultra rare skills they will give him. And they are going to be these skills." Deku staring on. The screen going blank as he doesn't feel a rush of power in his body. He feels his muscles strengthen. He feels his perception alarmingly so. In his thoughts, he does get to feel them race for a second. That feels like a rush of adrenaline. A sip of water after a hot day. Something sweet after craving it for so long. And this, it does feel odd to Deku. Before he does, go look at the following skills. Wound manipulation. That surprising him. Okay, he'll come back to that one. That sounds barbaric. Limiter removal. Ability can be increased up to 5 to 10 times. Ability will greatly increase strength and speed, along with perception. Ability can be seen as an enhancement one. However, this is dangerous. It doesn't mention anything about durability, strength, speed, and perception. Perception does include reaction time. It may give a minor boost, but if you're punching hard and you're in the middle of combat, your adrenaline might be dumping it into your body. You may not even see it. And that's something Deku has gotten better at. It's like a Fae wrote this. They don't explicitly mention something, but you think it's included. Okay, so Volley. What does this ability do? Clicking on that, going to get the details as they do to appear. Volley. Ability is capable of stacking blows on combatant. However, if he does not land a punch within 2 seconds, ability will cease to activate. And reactivation can be achieved when a new combo is started. Him staring at that. It's dangerous. Okay, so there's that. So these are 2 physical abilities and a magic one. That's interesting. Volley does seem good. But from what he can tell, that it's a really short time frame. Any blow he strikes could work. Okay, so like to the body, to the arms. He's not a big melee fighter, but paired with his sword, that could be a good ability. Plus with the stat up he got, He's faster now. Okay, okay. He's a lot faster. He can already feel that. But what more can he do? What other things can he do? Okay. His sword is made of dark steel. As far as he knows, that's a big deal. I'll have to ask more about that. See about talking to a blacksmith? The dwarves in town. That's definitely an option. See what they know about the weapon itself. Okay, so these are interesting choices. Should he look at the magic ability? Wound manipulation. What would it even do? It's clearly a combat oriented magic. It sounds dangerous. Looking back up and selecting it. Before he does, I'll read the description. Wound manipulation is a form of combat that relies heavily on pre-existing injuries on a combatant. Scars and or other old injuries do not count. Pre-existing injuries that have already been healed do not count. Fresh injuries are what is needed for this ability. Wound manipulation can also go by flesh manipulation. However, Deku, upon seeing those words together, does physically recoil. But he does try to think. This ability was picked for him. What does he have that could force this thing to him? Okay. Continuing to read. Wound manipulation can open wounds and manipulate the flesh to also mend. That catching his attention. He can stitch flesh back together and pull it apart. Okay. Wait a second. Is this just a big manipulation on... No, this seems like it's healing magic turned into a combat magic. But that's dangerous. Is it mixed with water magic or blood magic? That on his mind. He's already had the idea about blood magic before. But this ability, yeah. If he does start going down that road, he'd have to be careful. It sounds very dangerous. Then he'll put it on the back foot for right now. Blood magic might be something he does learn, maybe to counter it, or learn ways to counter it himself. He's still worried about the vampire. And now his thoughts are drawn back to that. This annoying him, as he does select that ability to pick. And whenever he does get to do so, he does go to watch the screen fade out again. Him concerned that another screen might pop up. And it does, as this one does inform him. He has spent over a year in this world, and he has now been given access to the event calendar. This alarming him, as there is where it is going to show him. It being a screen that does show an event happening soon. And that, it's a timer, telling him that something big is coming. Him going to suck in a breath and sigh. Before he does, gonna go back over his inventory and see the amount of skill points he does currently have. And that, it's at 95 points. Okay. He can max out a magic ability, max out a skill. But, okay. He'll come back to that. See what more he can do? Definitely see what more he can do. Him going to close that. Right now, he's not going to tell Theodore about that ability. But it definitely is something to know. Maybe Master Ice Magic? No, wait. What is that? Wait, that's where his ice magic should be. Why is it at level 1? Hovering over. Sub-Zero Magic. Level 1. Mastered form of ice magic. Ability is currently low. Proficiency is currently high. Deku's seen the cost for leveling this one up. 5 skill points apiece. And that is way too rich for one level of magic. But he does stare at that. It evolved. And he'll have to keep that in mind before he does go to get up and go to head out. Right now, him flying back over to the house and going to arrive, as he does try to talk to people about what happened. Theodore, he's happy to see Deku here. Pyra, Indra, and Oliver, they however are quite surprised to see him back so soon. He took on an S-rank quest within a month, and apparently he got back yesterday. Not today. Yesterday. This is surprising them. And Theodore, he does try to ask Izuku about how things went, to which he does a bring up his hand, going to show off covering his body in ice exactly what happened. And the man does just stare at the ice, narrowing his eyes and going to smile. Since that ice is producing a lot of steam. And it's not typical. That is Sub-Zero. Him going to clap his hands, expressing, just when he thought he's seen everything, the boy goes on and masters an element. What's he going to do next? Not sure. Though, I also met a Doom. A Doom? Pyra going to turn her head, and her tail immediately fluffs up. Him staring at that, her running over and asking exactly what happened. He met the god of nature? The god of forest? Yeah, I did. It's nice to see you two again. Pulling her into a hug, and she does have her tail to start wagging. Him pulling back as Oliver does her to ask, so about a Doom. Long story. I don't even know where to begin, really. I met him, and he talked about me clearing out every spider. I'm gonna go back later, but I already informed the guild about it. It's gonna be a whole thing. You cleared them all out? I did. I checked the dungeon on my way out, but if there's one in the forest nearby, I'd rather be sure about it. Along with that, can I have a private conversation with you? I think that's good. Oliver and Pyra watching these two step inside. And Indra, she remained quiet the whole time. Hearing that Deku mastered an element, it alarmed her, since that shouldn't have been possible in the last 6 weeks, let alone 5. She saw his power, and the idea that he just jumped that far ahead of her, it's impressive and a little intimidating. He's one-upped her again, and that does make her want to grind her teeth together, wanting to learn something to improve upon herself. Now, the two do to sit down. Currently, them going to sit down at the table as Deku should ask the man exactly what to do. What do you mean? I got access to a new form of magic. The man staring at Deku, as he did express, he should specify one was a reward for the quest and one was a reward from the system. He's level 105. Good. You're almost half my level. Seriously? Yes, you are. Though, Go ahead. Right, sorry, I'm not sure how to begin, I guess. Um, After I cleared things in the dungeon, I was worried about coming back up. It felt weird down there. Oh, weird. I lost track of time? I mean, the last 3 weeks have been strange. You mean 26 days? 26? Wow, okay. See, you did a good job on that. Keeping track of time underground isn't easy. Though I'm assuming you spent time in the sun? I did. I did. Sometimes I fought for a long time. I ran out of magic and I'd head back up. But other times it just went on for I don't know how long. It just blurs together. Uh huh. And when you finally beat it, I came back home as fast as possible. I see. Well, now, Izuku, how did you feel about the entire thing? Kind of annoyed, I guess? It was frustrating. Infuriating? Was that the point of it? Not necessarily. The place we're going to be going next, it's going to be more dangerous. I'll be there to accompany you, but it'll basically be like the same thing. Except we'll be spending a majority of the time underground. Are you serious? Yes. Dangerous creatures are all about. And you will have to rely on dark vision. I did have to rely on that spell a lot. I see. Him sipping his tea. And Izuku does do the same thing, as he does go to express. He also had a question about Aegiuses. You also called them slave magic. Him looking at Deku. I did. They're nasty things. Why are you asking me about this? Would I be able to learn it? Him going to stare daggers directly into Deku. And he doesn't bring his hands up. He has good reason. What reason do you have to learn that magic? Name one. Deku feeling the clear anger in this man's voice, as he does express. He figured out where that note came from, along with the vampire teeth. The second vampire that was there at Stonefen, she was there at the dungeon. She was begging to serve him. It was weird, but she said she'd undergo Aegius. Even something of the old way. I'm assuming she means slave magic. She wants my blood. Does she now? Him leaning back, going from angry to intrigued. A vampire willingly going under Aegius where... What did she say about it? Would you write the terms yourself, or would she? She mentioned she didn't care. She said she would let me write the terms if I wanted to. That is interesting. So she was afraid of me. She was practically begging me for it. That is odd. Geases are notoriously hard to break. And if it is one of the old ways, then she wouldn't be able to break free of a collar. Seriously? Yes, Izuku. Seriously. That is what I'm trying to understand about this. She'd have to listen to every word you say, every whim. But did she say anything about binding herself to you? I don't think she did. I was a bit hazy last night, but she mentioned that normal blood doesn't help anymore. She's just not being filled up by it. Ah, I've heard of this before. Have you? Yes. If vampires taste something exquisite, then they tend to go hungry from normal things. It sustains them for a longer period of time, but afterwards, nothing else can. They need that to sustain them. It's like this, Izuku. Even though they'll feast on normal blood, once they taste something they consider to be above normal, they'll want it. Their body will crave it instinctually. And nothing, no matter how much of it you think you can, will fill it. Let's say she tried to drink from a giant. She'd still feel hungry, and her body would give out on her. So she's dying? I believe so. I've only heard of this phenomenon in stories. This is intriguing. Okay, so what do I do then? A geas for a vampire. This is the interesting tale. Yeah. Though, I'm not sure what to do about that. I am not either. I will prepare terms. What did you do about her? I gave her some of my blood. Good. That was a smart choice. It buys you time. It does. Deku turning to look down. The crystal in his neck beginning to glow. And he does go to bring his hand up and go to pull it over his head, holding it out as a group call is activated, expressing, okay, have they noticed the changes to the system? Hey guys, where the hell have you been? Long story. Though, how's everything going? It's been good. It's been fine. It's been a bit weird. Him turning to Kirishima, talking about it. Have any of them met strange people before? And Bakugo and Deku, they do to look back at each other for a second, before Izuku does talk about it. He ran into the god of nature, Adum, about 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, he's been running into a lot of strange people. Please. I've been running into a lot of strange people too. Yeah, but I mean, like, how strange? Kirishima, a dragon gave me a sword and flew away. Okay, but that doesn't that wasn't specific. Oh, Chaco, that's strange, but I mean, how strange? I'd say about a 7. Okay, because I was dealing with a 10. I met a strange elven woman in a store, and she was giving me the creeps. She was a dark elf with strange aura. I don't know. Just, I've got a bad feeling about that. Do you? Do you think that it was Alino? I genuinely don't know. I just know that she told me to be careful. But she also said the word event. And when I looked in the inventory earlier, it was there. There's an event gonna pop up soon. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. This being where Deku does get a watch as his screen does get to inform him. Event arrival currently planned in 3 weeks. Cataclysm of the storms. That alarming them. As Theodore does a watch a blank expression on Deku's face, his eyes do to glow, turning to the crystal and seeing the same thing. And when their faces all simultaneously drop, he knows something bad might be happening. As Deku does gonna close the system and talk about it. Okay, this is bad. What do we do? What's going on? Storm of the Cataclysm? Oh, it's something happening in 3 weeks. Do you have a location? No, I don't. Did you guys? I'm looking at the event right now. Bakugo expressing. It's talking about how we'll update them with details. But something's supposed to come through. That's all it's saying. This is bad. What do we do? Do we fight it? It sounds like a raid boss, right? From a video game? I think so. I don't really know. I've heard about those things, but I didn't really play those types of games. I think it is a raid boss. Bakugo gonna say. Deku expressing. He's pretty sure it is. There's been stuff like this in the All Might video game before. I still don't know who that is. Okay. Events like this are huge. And I do mean huge. But I'm not sure. If it's big enough that the system's updating us for it, then it's gotta be dangerous. It sounds dangerous. All of you contact your mentors. Let them know what's happening. If it is what I think it is, then I'll have a chat with them as well. Talk to them about what's going on and see what we can do. I should right now try to get stronger. All of you, quickly. Fight strong opponents and level up. Izuku's already gone past level 100. Seriously? No way. So it looks like I'm not the only one who's been pushing it a bit. Him turning to Kirishima. And this is where Kirishima does give him a smile. A grin of friendly rivalry. And that does elicit a grin from Deku. As he does go to hang up. Right now him trying to think about what to do to prepare. He's got points to spend. Figure them out? Find out how this new magic type works, or begin skill dumping? Right. Well, he's gotta find out where to put all these things, but wait a second. Wound manipulation heals people if he uses it correctly. Or opposite of the purpose. Uses it differently, he means. So, going off the idea he can take a lethal strike, he could heal it if this ability is stronger than his healing magic, just at level 1. He wouldn't need regeneration. Holy hell. A combat class that's versatile. That is interesting. You alright? Yeah, sorry. Just trying to think about what to do. This is getting more dangerous. It certainly is. Though you need to get back to training tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yeah. Him understanding. Though he does get to tell Theodore that they do need to head back to the dungeon to check it out. He needs to make sure everything's cleared there. And he does understand. Indra going to follow them when they do get to head out. And Theodore does go to change around the schedule a bit for Deku, since he also does need to give him his braids, because he's earned some achievements. Now, there is later at the dungeon, people from the neighboring empire, they were informed of this event. The hero took out the S-rank dungeon on their land. And when their people arrived, they were surprised at what they saw. The idea that that place was unsealed gave them panic. Though upon arrival, they didn't find anything. Their people were combing the forest and looking around the dungeon. This is horrifying to think about. They found the boss. They found all the entities. The rooms were covered in water. The boss was smashed by two large glaciers and covered in ice. This huge elder monstrosity, it lays before them dead. And whatever did it, it definitely knew what it was doing. The air around them is torn up and there's just bodies everywhere. The pieces on the upper floors, they could hardly recognize or find. And this, it does really terrify them. Upon Deku's arrival, he does check the area, making sure it's clear, and Indra does see exactly what her rival has been able to do. And she does try to think about something she can do to get stronger. Right now, this currently on her mind. As with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.